Happy Halloween, everybody. What's going on? Doc back, Average Gamer guys. We're going to talk some Tarkov on this Halloween, so let's jump into it. All right, so as you can see, for Halloween, we've had the Halloween event for a few days here. I was thinking about covering it in a video over this weekend and just figured you probably get enough information. If you don't, we'll cover it here. I'm not sure quite how long this will last, but typically we see these events go for at least a few additional days. This picked up, I think, started either Thursday or Friday, and has obviously run through the weekend. If you've been playing Tarkov at all, which you may or may not have with the release of Call of Duty. I know I certainly haven't played a ton. You all have noticed some things have gone on. Some changes have happened. Some stuff is going. So I'm going to quick run down the event really quick again. If you haven't had a chance, go in, enjoy it a little bit, have some fun raids. I'm going to talk about how fun I think it is, the good stuff, which there's a few things. I'm also going to talk about the bad and how we can improve these kinds of events going forward. At least throw out some of my ideas, and then we'll talk a little bit more about Tarkov, and we'll wrap this one up. So really quickly, there's a couple important things. The first one is Tagilla is basically spawning. He is spawning everywhere. Not basically. He is spawning everywhere. Here, Thanks to Logical Solutions is a good rundown of this. This may have slightly changed as far as spawn percentages, although I think this is pretty consistent. So take a look at this. Tagilla is everywhere. I'm going to showcase some video here in just a second of running into him, doing some offline raids, just having some fun in a few of the new additional items or some of the returning items, which we've gotten as well. But take a look at this. That's where you can find him on every map. If you need to kill him for your quest for whatever reason, if you're stuck there, this is a great chance to try to get in and do it. You can find him pretty heavily on Factory, pretty heavily on Interchange, Lighthouse, Reserve, Shoreline, interestingly enough. All really good spawn chances. So if you need to go take him out, go give this a run and you'll enjoy it. In addition to that, the other things that are happening, there is random buffs and debuffs, and I'll show this in the video too. If you haven't run a raid and you've been wondering why, like, your energy is draining really fast, or your thirst, or like you're starting to die, you have a trick and a treat. It's essentially the way I'm going to describe it. You have two things that can happen at the beginning of a raid. One of them is going to be a positive buff, potentially, and then you're going to get a negative buff. The unfortunate part is one of the most consistent negative buffs is energy, essentially energy loss. It buffs it pretty hard. You lose like 5 energy, 5.8 energy or something as it ticks down. I have also had one where basically my health regeneration is reduced, which essentially like a bleed just starts to kill you. Luckily that one doesn't last that long. The other ones seem to be lasting through the duration of the raid, which is a little unfortunate. So it is what it is. But yeah, so there's that. We'll talk about that in a second. In addition, there's some new stuff and there's some returning stuff. I'll showcase a video where we have some of the old school previous Halloween items back. If you're familiar, the pumpkin helmet, the glowing pumpkin helmet, it's one of the coolest cosmetic items in my opinion in the game. I'll showcase it here. But it is back. It makes its return. We get some of the cool masks that have kind of just continued to circulate, but they definitely spawn a lot more consistently. We have some new ones as well. A really cool skull mask that Tagilla himself can don, and pretty fun. So Tagilla, with him being everywhere, he gets a little bit of a new look. Sometimes I have noticed that this isn't all the time, but pretty frequently he's getting a new set of hard headwear. He's getting a new helmet. He's not always going to have the mask on. He's going to don one of the cool spooky masks, sometimes the skull. I've seen him with the ghoul mask on. I've seen him with the Jason mask as well. So pretty fun there. He also, instead of his hammer, now has a scythe. The scythe is absolutely brutal. Okay, don't get hit by this thing. Every time I at least fought him in an offline raid with this exact setup that I have right now, and he hit me in the thorax, he literally one-shot me, and the damage is out of this world. So He also has an increased health pool. So if you're looking to kill him and you end up killing him now, kudos to you, because you're definitely making your life a little bit harder. One of the other new things that has spawned up is basically these little pumpkins with sweets. This is really cool. This is probably one of my favorite things about this event is new lootable containers. Essentially what happens is you pick this thing up, you can't open it in raid, but you carry it. If you're able to escape the raid with it, you're going to be able to open it. I'm going to show you what it has here in just a second. You can see this little unpack button. I actually think this is a great feature for this event. I also think this is a great test of this feature. This is really cool. So this is the ability to do special packages or certain things like that that you would have to get out of the raid, survive with. This could make essentially unlootable containers in the raid somewhat interesting, and I'm hoping we see this again, not only for like certain special events like Halloween, Christmas. That would be cool. I would be very surprised if we don't get like Christmas packages. I could obviously be way wrong here, but that would be really, really neat. But I like this as far as a feature for going forward. The cool part is the places where these spawn are not typical locations where you're gonna find loot, right? So this isn't, in my experience, this is not replacing a loot spawn. This is spawning somewhere else, which is noticeable. They seem very purposeful where they're put. They're relatively well visible. You can see them obviously because they're pretty big in raid and orange. But I really like this. I really like this. I hope this is a feature that they find a way to implement going forward. Things like this could spice up raids. Again, you could, there's just so much you could do. So this is really cool. If you end up unpacking this, this is one thing that is supposed to help with essentially the debuffs that you are seeing in raid. Is these, you find them, you're going to unpack them, and you're going to see it has a nice little smattering of food, chocolate, juices. It has good things to replenish energy. It also does have a few cool things like rat cola you'll find in here, so that's pretty neat. I am going to hang on to this one later on. I'm curious to see what happens to this after the event is over, if I'm able to keep it or not. Obviously you can't really do a whole lot with this. You can't sell it on the flea market. None of the traders that I've seen have been able to buy this, although I haven't tried Fence. Yeah, and then Mechanic would be the other one sometimes that will buy these weird things. Yeah, so as just a total another aside, you can see here that our, and I'll probably go full screen here. There we go. You can see that our lovely traders have a new look here, which is really, really cool. Again, just neat little stuff like that I think is cool. And then lastly, in the hideout here, you also have a new set of lights, which we have seen before. Christmas time, if you've played around then, if you've been with the game for a while now, you'll see that during Christmas time you get a Christmas tree. But here we have kind of the spooky bats. They've done this before, which is really cool. You get some pumpkins and things like that, which is really neat. I think they do a really good job of just kind of updating that, you know what I mean? Just adding some extra little things here, which I think is cool. I would love to see some of this stuff again in the future, like give me the ability to customize my hideout maybe a little bit, you know, play some things. I don't need it to go super crazy, but do some different stuff here. Give you kind of the full look in case. I wouldn't imagine that this is much different if you don't have your hideout fully upgraded, but if you don't, you get kind of a look here. Is what's on the TV change? Yeah, it does. It's spooky. So that's pretty cool. In addition to that, and you'll see maybe in the video that I play, there are increased weapon malfunction chances. So if you are running some less than ideal weapons, you're probably running into some trouble. So that's what we have. That's just a basic rundown. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. Hopefully you had a chance to maybe run into Tagilla. Let's talk about the good and the bad. The good, I love the lootable containers. Again, I cannot talk about how cool I think this idea is, especially for if this is implemented in things going forward. Imagine having to get out like a package that you could find in a raid for quests, for instance. Imagine Jaeger, one of the traders, decides that they're going to populate a map with special packages that have, you know, different types of ammo in it or something. There's just so much potential for this to be really, really cool. Put some dynamic loot into the world that is also going to be absorbed by either the people that can find it, also the people that are lucky and skilled enough to be able to get out of the raid. That's what I really like. There's so much argument about the secure container and all that does. This would be a way not to supersede that. I'm not talking about changing that by any means, but adding in something that is going to reward skilled and players that spend the time to kind of learn where these things are. So I love this idea. Think it's super, super cool. Love that. Love that some of the cosmetics are back. I think those are really, really awesome. I think Cultist spawning, Tagilla spawning everywhere, giving him a different look is really cool. Making him essentially dress up for Halloween is absolutely fantastic. I love that. That's super fun. That makes the raids way different. Here's what I don't like. I get the trick or treat mentality. The debuff thing has got to stop. Or it can't be a debuff that makes the raid less fun to play or harder to get into the next one. The whole idea of this event should be able to bring people in. I'm not saying make it easier. Tarkov is a hard game. We all know that. We all know the thought process. But why are we making it more difficult for people to get back into the next raid when you want them to be running raids as much as possible? In addition, during this event, I would want people and PMCs staying in the raids as long as possible. Search these pumpkins out, run down to Gila, have some fun, fight some cultists at night. When you have energy and hydration debuffs, and they are literally dropping that stuff faster for you, that is not enticing you to stay in the raid. And if you're not a high level player, I have max, what do you call it? Max, the thing that gives me metabolism. Couldn't think of the word. It's late. Sorry. Max metabolism. If you have max metabolism, this is still impacting you and is still a super huge annoyance, right? And for those folks that don't, where this is already kind of a pain to have to deal with as a regular basis anyways, this just makes this absolutely no fun. I'm sorry. The debuffs need to go, or they need to be on a cycle, because you can literally get the same debuff 3-5 raids in a row. And if you don't have a stash of food, or you don't want to run your scav a bunch and try to hit interchange or woods and soak up a bunch of food, which you can definitely do, to me that's not the point of this. The point of this is you want people in there running their gear, having fun in the raid, trying to track some of these bosses down, picking up the pumpkins, and having a good time. That's just me. But I think, again, you hit the freaking ball out of the ballpark on a couple of these things. Bring in some of the fun stuff that we really enjoy, make it unique, make it a little interesting from the previous year. Again, I cannot talk about how much I love these containers, these lootable containers. However, all that being said, the debuffs thing was just a killer. Just a killer. I honestly have not played a whole ton during this event. Handful of raids. I'm still searching for literally my last Kappa item, which is this stupid Gingy keychain, which I'm on like my 8th marked key, which is also really, really depressing. I'm going to talk about that again, probably in a future Let's Talk Tarkov video, but I think you just want to bring people into it. This was a great time. People really look forward to this event. I know I personally do. It's a ton of fun. And I think the big arguments have been the debuffs and then cultist spawn chance. Cultist should be maybe not 100%. I think that might be a little excessive, especially if people are just trying to like quest and do some things. I always try to keep that in mind, because a lot of people saying it should be 100% are the folks that are like me, end game content, just want to go fight really hard bosses and make it a challenge for themselves. 50%. You know what I mean? 60%. Something that you can rerunning them to consistently. And here's the thing. If you don't want to do it on every map, make them really high on places like factory, customs, woods, places that you would expect to run into them anyways, shoreline. And I think you could have a recipe for success and then leave them as a low spawn chance everywhere else. I think that would be a good middle ground. That way you give people the option to be able to play the way they want, enjoy some of the content that are really hard to find, because cultists, you just have a very hard time finding, I've heard. I have not searched for them myself this wipe, but apparently they're very, very difficult. And give them the content that they want and they're hoping for. So that's my general thoughts. Let me know in the comments below. Let me know if you've had a chance to go out and play some, what you thought. Yeah, love to hear from you. Love to hear your thoughts. Love to hear your feedback, because hopefully we can continue to make this better for future events to be mo better. Because that's what we want. We want them to be better. All that being said, not a whole lot else to talk Tarkov wise, besides the fact that there's probably not as many people playing it because Call of Duty just came out. And I will tell you, I've been watching some of the bigger streamers swapping over, at least enjoying it. Something to do. I will tell you, I have jumped in, put a decent bit of hours in, and I actually do enjoy it. I may talk about that here in a future video if you're interested. I will tell you, I've enjoyed the experience. I think the single player, which is up on the channel, I think the last part posting here, pretty fun. I did enjoy the single player experience. Multiplayer has been pretty good. There's definitely some tweaks, but it's been pretty good. I've enjoyed it. So if you have jumped into the Call of Duty, let me know as well, and let me know your comments down below and all that good stuff. But I think we'll wrap this one up here. Hopefully enjoyed some of our fun and exciting offline Tagilla encounters, checking out the new weapon, the scythe, and some of the other cool things. Let me know what you think about the Halloween event. Again, not sure how long it's going to run, but if you haven't had a chance, get in, run some raids, do some fun things with your friends. I don't think you'll be disappointed. Just make sure you have some food. That way you can keep running the raids. All that being said, if you are out trick-or-treating or you have kids like myself that are going to be doing the same, have a very safe night. Get some candy, enjoy yourselves, watch a scary movie. If you haven't carved a pumpkin, you're probably waiting until the last minute, but do all the good stuff. Happy Halloween to everybody. And yeah, more content coming at you. And be ready for, again, a little bit of mix of Call of Duty. Probably be throwing that in here a little bit as we jump in. So hopefully you enjoy. Thanks for clicking on it. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the good stuff for YouTube, socials. I'm gonna flash those. Check us out down below. All that good stuff. I've been Doc, Average Gamer Guys. As always, thanks for watching, and have a happy Halloween. Peace.